Helldivers 2 continues to redefine what a good live service game should be. Update after update, the game continues to excel in pretty much every way possible, and right now, after the largest event that has happened in the game's universe up to this point, I think it's a great time to look at just how smart some of the ideas behind making a live service format work in an excellent game are exemplified by the decisions made by Arrowhead. Last time that I really sat down to analyze Helldivers 2, I said that I was incredibly excited for what the future of the game would hold, because despite it being an excellent game from the top to bottom in my opinion, a live service game is going to live or die based on how the live service actually works. What is the new content schedule? What keeps players coming back? It just so happens that if your game is just incredibly fun to play and designed around making players feel good for playing, but never feeling bad for not doing so, you have a lot longer legs when it comes to people continuing to play, even if that content weren't to come out at the pace necessary. But quite the contrary, Helldivers 2 has managed to find a way to create a narrative structure and an update structure that goes with it that keeps people paying attention to the game even if you don't play, because once again, you never feel like you're forced to play. Instead, things happen that make you want to play. And it's just so damn smart, and I'm so excited for this game. I keep playing it all the time, and the future right now looks really bright. So let's talk about how ingenious some of all of this is. Now, since launch, what we've seen introduced are called major orders. I don't think that at the start many of us even realized just how important that main gameplay hook of the major orders being these global objectives given to everybody who plays the game would actually be. And one of the reasons I think that this system of giving all of the players certain objectives that they can follow or not follow, I mean, you could just not do the major objective, but that wouldn't be nice of you unless you're defending Malevelon Creek, because we always need to defend the creek, is that Arrowhead is willing to go all out with it. I think that on the surface, what a lot of us would expect from the major orders are these big global objectives that give you some sort of bonus for you to participate in an event with the community, and that's pretty much it. But that's not what major orders are. They are the story of the game. They are the beats of the Dungeons and Dragons-like adventure that we are all on, but with Super Earth, against the Terminids and against the automatons. Major orders leverage the structure of this live service game not just to give people something to do, but to shape what the world is and what it will become and at what rate. And I think most of us understood this once mechs were introduced during the defense of Tianquan. The major order was, our factories for mechs are on Tianquan, and Tianquan is under attack and we must liberate it. And by liberating it, we unlocked the mechs. And the mechs are really cool. They are a gameplay feature that affects the game at that moment and forever moving forward. But it was tied into this whole narrative of how they were being produced, and it gave all of the players together as a community an objective to go fight. The way that they introduce things like the mech or the very recent Quasar Cannon, very impactful weapon, incredibly fun. Pretty much everything that they've put into the game since launch, at least to me, has been maybe not the strongest sometimes, but just very fun to use, which is what matters the most. But for example, in this most recent major order, we actually eliminated the automatons. And that's what I mean when I say that the game is willing to go all out with how it tells its narrative and how it impacts the whole game through the narrative to really get everybody involved in it. Right now, on the map, we can't fight automatons. They're gone from the game right now. We can only go and fight Terminids because the message right now reads that the galaxy is at peace with the automatons gone and the Terminid front very much under control, which of course will last forever. That is what the Ministry of Truth has told me that I should tell you. So rest easy, Helldivers. There's not going to be any giant surprises moving forward. No, why would that happen? So if the game's greatest strength from the start was its community, was the way that people rallied around the game from how fun it is to play and how fun it is to cooperate and be cool in the community, it makes so much sense to progress the game forward and for the main hook for people to come back and keep playing to be impacting how the game is actually evolving. And everybody ends up being aware of it, because if you log in one day and the automatons are just gone, you're definitely going to be curious, even if you are the most casual of players, to be like, wait, what's going on? And hey, there's this storyline developing, and we don't know what the next episode of this is, and we all get to participate in it together. Now, it's very important to say that all of these major orders introduce things like new gear, new stratagems, they introduce new objectives, new enemies. They fundamentally evolve the game, and participating in them is a way to progress the game and get a taste of that new future that they present. But you don't have to, and the game does not make you feel bad for not being there. There are no super exclusive weapons or unlocks only for people who participated in the major order. Quite the contrary. If you just couldn't play, and when you come back, everybody else completed the major order, you get your medals just like everybody else. You get rewarded for the community's victory, whether you participated or not. The reason that you want to participate is because you want to be there when the story is being told. I had a lot of social responsibilities to take care of throughout the weekend, but I made sure that on Sunday night, when I got back home, I logged on so that I could fight against the automatons. I managed to get 2 missions done on Durgan right before it was liberated. And my motivation for participating wasn't, if I wasn't there, I wasn't going to get access to something cool. There was no FOMO involved. It's just because the story is good, and I was excited to see if we would make it and what the consequences would be, just like I'm excited for the future. And I wanted to be there when the message popped up. I wanted to be there when Reddit and Twitter popped off with the news and people got excited for it. And I managed to get there right on time, and I'm happy that I was there. I got to be there at a point in history of the game's life that I will share with the community that was there as well, as I have been on Tien Quan or on the first battle of Malevelon Creek. And yes, I did miss the major order for Malevelon Creek on April 1st, and I will never forgive myself, but I was on very important business. I am not a traitor. I am not a traitor. The fact is that the game at this point continues to motivate players to participate in this live service through many different ways. One is that even if you're not paying attention to the storyline or to participating in the major orders, you still get consistent content updates that come from those major orders. You will still experience the new enemies. You will still experience all of the balance tweaks, the new weapons, the new items, every modification, the new objectives that come with them. These are things that you can participate in afterwards that will impact the game long term, which means that very often you have a reason to come back and play and experience those new things. And if you want to be part of the vanguard that's leading towards those new things, you have the motivation to participate in the major orders. On top of that, there are just new content drops. Until this point, it has just been 3 premium warbonds, with the newest one releasing very soon. And they do bring new weapons and new things that you can use in the game that sometimes shift some of the meta, or at least give you new toys to play with. Because super credits is something that's quite easy to farm if you are playing the game regularly. These are basically content drops, even if they are behind a premium currency. And even then, I think that most people are pretty okay with how the model of the game works, at least until this point, to drop $10 or $5 if you don't have enough super credits to purchase them. Although I do think it's been a little bit long in the tooth for the current main warbond. We need another big free-to-play warbond, in my opinion, coming up soon with maybe some more transformative content. But the pipeline and the reasons to keep playing have been exceptional so far, and the way that it leverages everything with those major orders, with that big storyline that involves everybody that's playing the game, to me is brilliant. And it does keep me invested, even when I'm not playing the game or participating. I'm reading through Reddit, I'm reading through Twitter, I'm reading through Discords where people are talking about the latest major order or excited about something, and it's always fun to see. I don't feel punished for not participating in that moment, but I keep the game present in my mind, and because it's such a good game to play, jumping back in to participate into any event quickly sucks me back in. On top of all of that, I think that the balance of the game at the moment is excellent. I normally play on difficulty 7, it's where I feel the most comfortable on, it's where I have a good balance of fun without necessarily tryharding too much, but still feeling like very much at risk of failing a mission if you don't at least concentrate on it. And I think that a lot of the weapons and a lot of the enemy spawns and balance of them are very entertaining and keep things fresh from mission to mission. With what I feel at the moment, with the Quasar Cannon being one of the most dominant weapons in the game, is very well done in its design to fit different roles. You need Quasar Cannons if you want to take down big armored enemies, but if you have a Quasar Cannon and there are big mobs of enemies, nothing big, no big priority target, it's very rare to have a super versatile primary weapon that can deal with semi-armored or mid-armor units and really hold your own and be strong. Of course, there are stronger weapons, although I always use the sickle from the Cutting Edge Warbond because that one is just fun and I like it. But that does lead to the fact that Quasar Cannons are really good for their purpose, but you need other people with other sorts of equipment to actually be successful in covering all of the different threats that you'll have on a deployment. And from my experience in the last week and a half, I think that most people really understand that role of each player in a mission. So if somebody selects a Quasar Cannon, you're going to fill out other roles with all sorts of different things to cover different options and understand that the Quasar Cannon guy is going to be the guy to take down every single charger or to open up every Bile Titan that comes down, or in the case of the automatons, which no longer exist, those dirty socialist automatons and their gunships, they're the designated person for that, and when you see one of them, you ping it. You ping it and you protect the person that's going to take them down, and then the rest of the people do their roles as well. And it leads to a slightly more cooperative, more team-focused type of game that is incredibly fun to play and doesn't feel very homogenous to me at the moment. I don't see people running the same exact loadout every single mission, and a lot of the loadouts that people run can have a lot of flexibility and lead to some interesting and fun situations, let's say. I am overall so happy with where Helldivers 2 is at the moment and where it's heading towards. The potential of this game is just massive. When it launched early in the year, I said that it was going to be one of the best games of the year. It was definitely going to be a contender. I said that it was just a masterclass in so many different ways, and its impact beyond just being a fantastic game in its structure as a live service game and in its monetization systems really made it something that we needed to talk about more. And with all of that excitement that I had for the future of the game, seeing it over-deliver, seeing it go beyond my expectations in what it's doing at the moment, has me incredibly excited to say towards the end of the year that the game that it is in December of this year is a much better, bigger, wider, and more exciting game than it was when it launched and cemented itself as one of the best games of the year and one of the shining beacons of what a live service game should be for many years to come. So I'm so happy that instead of being disappointed by it, I get to just be super excited and play it a lot. Anyways, this is a channel where I talk about all sorts of games and all sorts of things, but I've been playing a lot of Helldivers too, so I thought it was worth talking about it and just how smart I think it is once again. And as long as I keep playing it, as long as it's one of my main games, I want to drop back in on it and make some comments on what I think is going well, and remember some of the history of the storyline that is unfolding. So I hope that's okay with you guys, with the people who watch my videos. I hope you find that something that's fun to do. But for more on Helldivers 2 and on pretty much all sorts of games, if you want to hear my opinion on them, remember to subscribe. Really close to 25,000 now, which is bonkers. I also want to thank my wonderful patrons who support all of the videos I do, from the long-form analysis ones to these shorter ones. If you want to join the Patreon wall and get shouted out at the end of my big analysis, it's only $1. That's the only tier available. But I've been Mugthief. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you again very soon.